Hello, I'm Charlie. Welcome back to the shed. I know it's been a little while. Time for an update, and finally, time for a proper Engage model railway update. I've been planning the layouts. I've started to put that plan into progress, as you can probably see behind me. So let's have a look at what I've been up to. So it's time to get stuck into the planning stage of the layout. Very exciting bit for a lot of people. I've enjoyed having a real think about, well, what would I like to achieve from the layout. And I was looking around for inspiration. 2-3 months ago now, back in March, I went to the model railway extravaganza at Alexandra Palace in North London, and lots of layouts. There's about 40 layouts, loads and loads of trade stalls. And there was a big Bachmann Farish stand, and as part of that stand they'd produced an Engage model railway layout. I think I've got a picture of it here. No, that's a picture of mine, decisively less impressive at the moment, but yeah, here it is. So they've produced this layout. Now, what I particularly liked about this is there's a lot going on in a very small space, as you could achieve with Engage, as I realise. Because you've got sort of mainline station, you've got basically an outer loop which comes around the back. They've got a power station scene here. I'm not sure I'll retain that. It's quite ugly in my opinion, but I think it's a coal-fired power station for some reason at the back, and then the loop comes round, drops sort of down, and then basically does the same thing again on the other side. So I'll show you in a second, but it's like a large kind of B shape for that one line, which branches off the two lines around the back. And then closer in the centre, you've got a line either side of the platform, and as that comes around, they kind of slowly merge together. The two lines together go over the bridge. Now, if I go the right way, I can show you. Here's the sort of mid-section of the layout. So the bridge comes across, and then it goes into a tunnel underneath this area of scenic interest. The B sort of shaped line comes down. There's a few points here. So you've got a couple of sidings, a little shed there. Row of cottages in the middle, very cute as well. Yeah, lovely. And again, going the wrong way. And then this is the far right of the layout. So that sort of B-shaped line that was coming in comes in, does quite a sort of sharp curve and goes into this tunnel. So underneath this piece of scenery, it's basically coming around and then back out to the outer line. So it's not a figure of eight, it's more of a B, as I mentioned. But where these wagons are, watch the video in a second, but you'll see them coming in one tunnel and out the other. Excuse me. And then the two lines which come over the bridge on the other side then emerge here and then come back round and split off to go either side of the platforms at the mainline station. And then just to add extra to it, we've got all this sort of nice scenic interest on the top. And on the day they had, I think it might have been this little loco here, kind of coming back and forth, doing a bit of shunting, possibly something like that, just on the top, which gives it an extra layer of interest. Now, I was thinking, would it be possible to recreate this in the shed, given the space I've got? This is my first layout. I don't want to go too complicated, but at the same time, the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, I'm not interested in just doing a loop with a siding. I want something more to play with. So why not? If you're going to do this stuff, just get stuck in and see how it goes. So let's have a little look here. I can show you the video from that day. So as you can see, if you watch the wagons down the bottom, they're going into the tunnel on the far right, just here. And then in a moment, we should see them emerge from the tunnel over here. In the meantime, these two trains opposite directions going around there. and then the tunnel emerges, train emerges from the tunnel there. Now, what I particularly like about that layout is because of this hidden stuff on the right-hand side, it actually looks like, it almost looks like there are more trains, or there's more going on than there actually is. So very interesting, very clever layout. And then again, I mean, up at the top here, you've got like a little loco coming back and forth, possibly shunting. Some things around, as I mentioned. So a lot going on in a small space, and I was really keen to try my best to recreate that in the space I've given in the shed. Okay, so I wanted to translate the fabulous layout into the shed and bring it to life. Now, I'm very conscious I've got less size, smaller space even, than that layout did, and I think it was actually, from the video you can see the join lines, I think it's actually in 3 sections, so it's not the smallest layout. But to play around with it and see what I could do, I purchased Railway Modeler Pro. I've got a Mac, so it seemed like the best option available. It's just under £20. You pay once and then it's updated pretty regularly as well. I've had a few inquiries and just sort of tweeted a few questions, and they've been very quick to respond. Seems to be a company in Germany, and they're always updating the track library. So like all the railway modelling software you can get, it's got a custom scales 00HO NZ TT on various tracks, and then all the track types as well, all the manufacturers, slot cars, accessories, things like that. So for now, we're going with Pico. In some cases using the set track. I've got 12 radius curves as the as came with the the layout that I bought, the train set that I purchased. So I've still got those, so I thought, well, I can incorporate them to the layout. Now this software is very handy because obviously it's a drag and drop system, and then you can just, you know, if you wanted to add more bits on there, you can say another 5 sections please, add it on in that way, do that kind of thing, you know, drag things around, and then you can also change the elevation and the heights and the positioning, all that sort of thing. So there's a lot of options. I'm not going to go into it now. If you're sort of interested in this software, have a look online. Again, here on YouTube, there's a few tutorials there for Railway Modeler Pro, and it follows on from the first version with a classic one, which is not massively different at the moment. It's just got slightly more advanced features. So yeah, if you watch any of those, you'll basically get the idea of what's going on with Railway Modeler Pro. So in here, I then basically decided to try and model the layout the best I could. Now originally I started with one that was like a slightly bigger area. Then I realised with the restrictions of the shed, about, you know, 1.5 meters wide at the maximum really. So this kind of really pushes the boundaries of what's possible in such a small space. But as you can see, the blue line on here is basically that sort of outer loop which comes around and it goes under the 2 green lines, which are the sort of midsection. There we've got these sort of brown markers for the tunnel entrances. Obviously, you know, that's all kind of flexible. The one thing I'm probably going to change, and you'll see it in the next bit when I kind of show you where I've got with the layout, is basically these points are probably going to go excuse me, connecting the green and the blue tracks at this point. I might take the blue track out a little bit wider and give it more of a run up, because the blue section obviously has to come underneath the green. Now I've got to achieve that in quite a small space. As I say, in the next section you'll see how I'm achieving that, but basically to sum it up, I'm going to kind of carve downwards into the foam baseboard that I'm using to drop the blue track down, while I'm going to raise up the green track. So at this point here, around here and here, it should give me the at least the 4 centimeters that I'm going to need for clearance for the trains to run around. Okay, so that's my the track plan at the moment. So let's take a look at where I've got to with the baseboard. So after the planning was done, time to put it into action. Now first, before we get onto the layout itself and the shape, the track plan, let's just have a quick look at the baseboard, because that has been remodeled from previous videos. If you saw the making a baseboard video, etc., that was about 120 centimeters wide by about 90 deep. This is more like 160 wide by about 1 meter deep. So it is a bigger baseboard, which means due to the size constraints of the shed itself, which I've actually obviously expanded for the purpose of this, I've now managed to fill that entire end of the shed with the baseboard. So what this means is I tried to utilise all the timbers I had, so I had several bits and bobs laying around. So for example, if you have a look there, I've kind of cobbled a few bits together, but it's actually ended up in resulting in a very stable frame for the project overall. So what I've done, very simple, just made a kind of rectangular frame, a couple of support batons going across front to back, and then as you can see, this foam, this lovely Celotex dusty foam, that just basically sits on top of it. I've cut the sheets down to fit in, so we've got 3 and a bit sheets, and they've just had the front of those sliced off, so they sit nicely on the top, and then the frame itself supported by the shed. I've put some supports along on either side of the shed, as you can see sticking out there, and they come out back nearly to the door, which means that if I pull the baseboard as thus, there we go. Okay, so pull it this way, you can see it moving along nicely and comfortably, and I can pull it all the way back. I have to step outside for a second. Ouch, not on my head. You can pull it all the way back. This is the door entrance, and there's loads of room now behind there, so if I want to get underneath the baseboard, I can get down one side, pop up, and then that means I can reach this side of the baseboard very comfortably, because it's 1 meter deep, it's about waist height. So if I lean right over, I'm kind of stretching to get there, and from a modelling point of view, that's never going to be a good thing. Going to be squashing trees and trains and all sorts eventually. Okay, so it's very lightweight, and it's basically on a couple of rails, so push it back all the way back, and then once it's back in that position, and plenty of room, plenty of storage space underneath as well, because there are no legs on it. Okay, so in terms of the layout itself, we've already seen the plans on the computer. So I printed them up 1:1 scale on about 49 sheets of paper, I think, to achieve that. Laid them all out, and I've secured them in place with these little dress pins here. So pinned it down so it's not going anywhere. Now I've realised pretty quickly, if I want to achieve this layout with obviously the kind of inner and the outer loops crossing over each other here, and then doing the same here, as you can see. So if I want to achieve this effect, what I'm going to have to do is leave 4 centimeters between the top and the bottom, so a train can run underneath. Now if I'd have just used a flat baseboard, then obviously the green track lines coming round, the inner loop comes right round like that. It's going to have to go up 4 centimeters from this point here to over there, which is, I think it's just about 1 meter, 1.20 meters, something like that, in length. So it's not long enough to really rise up even over the tracks. To get up 4 centimeter incline is going to be far too steep. So what I've decided to do, as you can see, I've started made a start on this. There's a little ridge here going all the way around, and at the moment it's not very deep, it's about a centimetre deep there, but I've made it a little bit deeper there. I'm going to carry on this afternoon cutting out around and then back here. What I'll do is I'll just dig a ditch for now, and then I shall retrofill it. So if anybody has any ideas of something I can use, whether it's going to be a bit of wood, bit of paper, to get a nice smooth gradient going down, is there some kind of filler or foam or some kind of product that would be quite easy to work with, that I could achieve a smooth gradient from here going down and then obviously coming back up to this point here. Okay, so that needs cutting out on that side. The same will happen over here from this point around down to its lowest point there, and then back up around. Ignore the blue line here, these points won't connect the blue to green. What I will do for the outer loop, I'll spin it a little bit wider and put it out and then back round. As I mentioned before, I'm going to use flexi track, so it's all kind of quite versatile on that front. But again, yeah, I need to just mark that out, and then I'll cut another trench there. So what we've got is the blue line dipping down and up, and then I'm going to have to equally build up a gradient for the two green lines that come together up onto the bridge, up to this point, same height here, and then dropping down again to the points, as you might have noticed, between this point here and this point here. There's not a massive distance. I might try and move the blue track as far over as I can. Obviously that leads to quite a tight curve to get back out of the tunnel, but you know, we'll play around with it and see what happens. But that for now anyway is the plan. So the overall sort of vision is that if I can achieve this with the there's tunnel entrances over here, and then the kind of gradient going up with the line going underneath. If you're running just even 2 trains at a time on this layout, it's going to look like there's a lot going on with the trains coming in and out of tunnels and going over and underneath each other. So the end result I am aiming for, fingers crossed, should look quite impressive. But I just think we've got a little bit of work on the way to get there, obviously. But if you guys have got any ideas in terms of filling stuff in, or if there's something glaringly obvious that's not going to work here that I haven't thought about, or anything to consider before I get too far, then do let us know. But I'll carry on with the cutting. I'm going to get some track ordered pretty soon, and a bit of cabling, and then we'll be ready for another update. So we'll leave it there for now. Like, subscribe and share, and thank you, as always, thank you very much for watching. Alright, bye bye.